Okay, when I think about the things that you're saying, one of the things that I wonder, you said you were talking about Iran and, you heard, what'd you say, like 167 bombs go off. Then you were also in the military. And I wonder if from a really young age, you were conditioned to not fear death because you were around death so much. And I wonder if that had an impact on your life in a major way uh, through the trajectory of your life and your success. Because one of the biggest fears people have, of course, is like truly people are really, 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 really afraid of dying. And I think that also bleeds into people are really, 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 really afraid of failing and et cetera, et cetera. Are you afraid of death, and did it get knocked out of you by how many bombs you heard when you were a kid, and how did that translate in your life?
I mean, I'm not a robot. I'm a human being. I have feelings. I get hurt. I get offended. I get upset. I have my own worries. I've just figured out a way to shorten the lifespan of my worries. I've figured out a way to shorten the lifespan of how much I'm bothered by somebody's remarks about me. Maybe it used to take me a day when I was 21 years old when you said something about me. Maybe eventually was an hour, then 30 minutes, then a minute, then 10 seconds. And now maybe it's a tenth of a second and I move on. But the point is, no one is a machine. Everyone's going to have something. From the president all the way at the top to Michael Jordan, when somebody says something bad about him, they're not going to be happy about it. And having said that, I'll give you the other part. My biggest fear is not experiencing and meeting the full potential capacity Patrick Bet-David. That's my biggest fear. My biggest fear is not meeting the best version of myself at 50 years old. My biggest fear is that. That's what I fear. Do I feel like when coronavirus happened and they asked us to shut down? I've been at the office every single day since the shutdown except for 3 Sundays. Now, I know they may say, well, Pat, that's not responsible. That's what I did. That's not the responsible thing to do. I sent 80% of my employees home. 20% of them have been working with me. But we're not going home. Are you an essential industry? We think we are, but the government says no. But we think we're essential. Somebody else cannot say if I'm essential or not. I believe I am an essential industry, and I believe I'm an essential business. And I have 130 offices nationwide, 500,000 square feet of office space, and 14,500 insurance agents, and we feel we're essential. Now, why do you go to work every day? That's not responsible. The government was willing to give you a couple $1 million to bail you out. Here's how much money I took from the government. We were supposed to get a $2 million check. I told my board and my CFO, I don't want a penny because we don't need it. Let somebody else take it. Harvard goes and takes $8.55 million from taxpayers, and they got $40 billion in endowments. Lakers took $4.6 million after a ton of criticism. They gave the money back. Harvard took $8.55 million. Are you out of your mind? Yeah, we're not taking the money, but I'm coming to work. Why are you coming to work? Here's why I'm coming to work. I have 3 kids. I have an 8-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 3-year-old. My 8-year-old is here today. The 8 and the 6 swap. He comes 3 times a week. The 6-year-old comes twice a week. When he comes to the office, I bought him a basketball right behind my office, behind this wall. There's a hoop. They each shoot 52 shots a day. They're supposed to shoot 50, but you always got to do 1 more, and they've decided to do 2 more. No problem. Then they need to read 20 pages. The oldest reads 20 pages. The middle one reads 10 pages of books. Then they read a documentary I choose, and they watch the 1-hour documentary, and they tell me what they took away from it. Per those 3 they do, they get to watch a cartoon or play a little bit. I have slides here, I have video games, you have an arcade here, I have a gym here, I have a bunch of stuff here, ping pong, everything you want to do on my headquarters. I'm at my office. This is not my house. So why do I come to work? Here's why I come to work. A woman once told me the most profound thing. She had 2 kids. She says, you know what's the closest thing a man will ever experience to giving birth to a baby? I said, what? She says, starting a business. I said, wow, tell me why. She says, because they're both painful and they're both your baby. When you give birth to a child, you went through the pain. No one knows what it is to go through the pain of giving birth to a child. It's your baby. That's why the kid always has a different kind of a connection to his mom. A hug from a mom is very different than a hug from a dad because a kid was there. That was his first home. He's emotionally connected to the hug with the mom than a hug with the dad, okay? Says when you start a business and you have to sacrifice everything, the arguments, almost going out of business, employees leaving you, losing customers, battles, competition, all of that stuff, you will feel the pain. So for me, I may have 3 kids, but this is also my baby. When I started this company, I put my entire life savings into it. My wife and I, she was pregnant. We had a miscarriage because there was so much pressure with the company. We moved offices. We went through a lawsuit. We had so many different issues the first 2, 3, 4 years of the company. There ain't nobody going to stop me from making sure this business lasts. They're not going to do it. I'm going to come to work. Now, I'm not telling you to do it. That's what I'm choosing to do. That's my choice. Well, Pat, what if they fine you? I will pay my fine because it's a fine, but I'm coming to work. What if they parked outside of your house and you can't go there and they park outside of your office? I will build an underground tunnel to come to work. I am going to take care of my baby because I left Iran to come to America so I can choose to do what's right for my family, and I believe this is right. Now, if I'm wrong and something happens to me, I pay the price. That's okay. I can live with that. But there was a book written in 1982 called Corporate Flight. Corporate Flight was written by these guys, 3 authors. They wrote it about the effects of unemployment percentage on death and life. Based on studies, David, each percent unemployment goes up, 37,000 people die. So if unemployment goes up 4%, nearly 150,000 people die. If unemployment goes up 6%, 220,000 people die. If unemployment goes up 10%, 370,000 people die. So I understand there is virus, but we also have to keep in mind that every time unemployment goes up, 37,000 people die per percent. If that is a factual statement and a number, we would probably look at the ways we're handling things today differently. I'm not saying 50-year-olds and up or 60-year-olds and up need to go to work. I'm not saying to be irresponsible. I'm not saying to do a lot of things, but I am saying to be proactive and not make some of the decisions that we made that are affecting many people's small businesses, because that small business is someone's baby. And you're telling somebody to let their baby go and, go out of business. That's a very painful experience. You talk to any founder that's given birth to a company and a business, they will tell you how emotionally attached they are, as well as their first 50 employees who were part of building that company. So for me, yes, we're talking about death. Yes, we're talking about all this stuff. I'm not here to act like I'm a macho guy and I'm not afraid and all this other stuff. I'm not a fan of heights, and there's a lot of things I'm not a fan of. And, I'm just like anybody else. I have my own set of concerns and fears and worries. But when it comes down to it and I'm by myself and I'm sitting there and I'm doing my proper research and then I'm able to make a methodical decision based on the data that I've gathered, I feel very confident making my next moves based on where I'm currently at. I wrote a book that's coming out with Simon & Schuster on August 18. They just created the launch. It's called Your Next 5 Moves. I've been working on this book for several years now because a lot of people are asking me about, what do I do next? What do I do next? It's one of the most common questions. So if you were me and you were in this situation, what would you do next? In the game of chess, you have those that become grandmasters, Magnus Carlsen, grandmasters. The everyday guy that plays chess, they know their next 1 move to 3 moves. These are amateurs. I know my next 3 moves, right? The pro knows their next 5 moves. The master knows 10 moves. The grandmaster knows 15 moves. They know what they're going to be doing. It's a typical thing with a strategist in life, an entrepreneur, a general, somebody that wants to win. They typically know what move they're going to be doing. The challenge what most people make is they make move number 13 on move number 2 and they fail. Sometimes you're too impatient about making your next right move. So I wrote that book specifically on knowing what your next 5 moves are for this exact conversation we're having. If people were a little bit more methodical about their next 5, 10, 15 moves, they wouldn't fear as much as they fear today.